So come on, Chris Broussard. Let's kick some ass on this Trash Talking Tuesday.
It's amazing how much better you've been with that intro since the Lakers started foundering.
Well, I told you it was coming. Chris, I've been trying to get you on board for a long time. I know you've been covering the NBA and you're an expert in the NBA, but I got a few years on you when it comes to the National Basketball Association. And I saw this coming from a mile away. I am not surprised. I'm going to stick my chest out.
You just going to act like you just knew, like you saw something strategic or whatever. Go ahead and gloat. You deserve it.
Hey.
After the whooping you took every Friday in Pigskin Pick
Off. Hey, football season is so old. That's so old. We talking about right here, right now. And Chris, I know you must have been watching in dismay and couldn't believe. Like, here's a game you need to win, and I get it. Brandon Ingram didn't play, but you said it. This is the one thing I'm gonna go off on you on this, and I think it's fair. I remember one of the reasons you thought the Lakers would still make the playoffs was because the Clippers had traded away their best player, one of their best players, into Tobias Harris, got traded to Philly. And then they also can lose a pick if they make the
play. They traded another starter, Avery Bradley, too.
Exactly. And you said, no. The Clippers don't want to win because, A, they gave up by giving up their, Tobias Harris, and they have a chance of losing a pick. So why would they do that? And I told you right then and there when they came back from 28 points against the Celtics in Boston, I said that's not a team that's trying to tank. Ownership might want them to tank, and the owner even came out and said it's not true.
Right.
But when you look at this team and what they've done, Chris, the last 3 weeks, it's amazing. And they did it again last night. They were down. They looked like maybe they weren't going to win early on, and they turned it on, and they won another game. All they've done is win, even after giving up their best player. So I'm impressed big time with what the Clippers are doing, and it speaks volumes about the Lakers. And LeBron's been playing. That people could talk about all the other stuff that's gone on since he came back from injury. Since he came back from the All-Star game. Remember, I'm going to activate and all this other stuff. They're 2-5, and they've lost to some really bad teams in those 5 games. It's bad.
No question. And you're right. I was thinking logically as I talked about the Clippers losing. But I talked to some people up there, and they were like, no. We really want to win. They feel it's good for their brand, which it is. And they feel like this draft isn't that deep. That getting, the 13th, 12th, 14th pick, whatever it might be.
It's not a game changer.
They already have some young players, Montrezl Harrell, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, some good young pieces. And they think it's going to help them in free agency. Obviously, they want to get Kawhi Leonard. I think they got a great chance to do that.
And I would bet Chris?
That they do get him.
They make the playoffs without a big star. If you're a star saying, look, they got a nice nucleus, they made the playoffs, you know what I mean? Like, that is a selling point.
No, it could be good for them. So they look good. But obviously the big story everyone's talking about is the Lakers. And look, right now, they're 5.5 games out of 8th place, and San Antonio has the tiebreaker, 8th place Spurs. So they're really 6.5 games behind the Spurs, and they're 6 games behind the LA Clippers. So they're essentially out of it, not mathematically, but again, they would almost have to run the table to go ahead and make the playoffs.
Because they said that they would need to win 46 games, right? Is that the number, 46?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's
like
46.
From what I heard,
right
the
now
number
the Spurs
was like
have 36.
They said that it was like you had to get 46 wins, and 46 would mean you have to go 16-2 in the last 18.
Yeah, I mean they obviously have a long road ahead of them, but the thing is, where do you place the blame? Right now, it's in vogue to place virtually all the blame on LeBron James. And obviously he deserves some blame. He hasn't had, the typical LeBron James seasons. He's had some bad optical moments sitting on the bench away from his teammates and things. Even though that really wasn't that big of a deal, it looked bad calling out some of the teammates. But Rob, I think people are going overboard with that. And I get it. You're the best player on the team. You're arguably the best player in the world. If your team's winning, when they were the 4th seed, LeBron was getting the lion's share of the praise.
Yes.
So I get why you get a lot of criticism. But if I had to pick out 2 things, and I was on the Herd today and I talked about it. If I had to pick out 2 things that I would really focus on the blame on this season, one would be the injury to LeBron. Because you can poo-poo it all you want, and it was relatively early. It was Christmas Day. They were the 4th. It's a fact. You can mock it all you want, but it's a fact. They were the 4th seed.
But they weren't entrenched in that, man. Stop using that as a stop.
Entrenched or not, they were the 4th seed, period.
But they were 2 games from the 9th spot.
That's right. They were the 4th seed, though.
I know, but stop holding on to that. My only problem is...
Can I finish my statement? I'll let you go off for 5 minutes about the glorious Clippers.
All right, go off for 5 minutes.
Can I finish?
Go.
All right. They were the 4th seed when LeBron got hurt, dismantling the defending champion Golden State Warriors in a big Christmas Day game, all right? So that injury derailed them. They went 6-12 after that, or 6-11, while LeBron was out during that one stretch. And then the other injuries, too. Rajon Rondo missing 34 games. Brandon Ingram missing 11. Lonzo Ball still out. He's missed about 18 games. So
sometimes it's addition by subtraction.
No, but the injuries are a factor. That's what I'd blame one thing on, particularly to LeBron. Secondly, Rob, the front office. And Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka. Now, LeBron had a lot of input on this roster. Go and get these playmakers, these defenders, these tough guys who can't shoot. All right? But at the end of the day, the buck stops with Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka because they run the front office, and they chose to put together this disjointed team that really doesn't complement LeBron. And beyond that, the thing that really sent the season off the rails was the Anthony Davis trade saga. And everybody's talked about how, New Orleans was leaking all the trade names and this and that, and they wanted to get back at the Lakers and all that. And some of that may be true. I'm sure there were leaks coming out of New Orleans. But there were also leaks coming out of the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's where Magic and Pelinka have to answer for, too. It wasn't just the Pelicans. And what I was told today by a good source is that the Lakers were also leaking the names of who they were willing to trade, and that was essentially everybody not named LeBron James for Anthony Davis. And here is why. Because the last year or so, Rob, we know the Lakers have been crucified because they didn't go hard after Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They thought they had Paul George wrapped up, so they didn't offer anything in a trade. They said, we'll get him in free agency. They could have tried to trade for Kawhi Leonard last summer. They didn't. I don't think Popovich would have sent him there, but they didn't do that either. And so they wanted their fans to know, we are not doing the same thing. We are not making the same mistake again. And we are going all in on getting Anthony Davis. So they leaked a lot of the trade stuff so their fans would know we're all about this. We're not sitting on our hands. We're not resting on our laurels. We're going to get Anthony Davis now, not in free agency. And that backfired on them, Rob. And when LeBron James came back, he came back to a team that was mentally and emotionally wasted, spiritually dead because of all the trade rumors and trade talks. So that's a big part of the problem, too.
All right, I don't disagree with some of that, but I'd put all the blame on LeBron James.
Of course you do.
No, and he came to Los Angeles knowing that this was a young team, so he signed up for this. You can't act like once you get here, oh, my God, they haven't won anything. No, they haven't made the playoffs. This is a young team with a lot of unproven people. As far as putting together the team, you can blame Magic and Rob Pelinka. LeBron James wanted Lance Stevenson and wanted JaVale McGee and wanted Rondo. He's the one who signed off on those guys.
Who gets the final blame, though?
I'm just
the
LeBron
buck stops
LeBron's
with the front
the worst
office.
general manager in the NBA.
Why are you letting him be the general manager?
Okay, but that's because
that's still on you. Pat Riley didn't let him be the general manager.
When you sign LeBron James at this point, that's what teams do. And the last thing
is that what Miami did?
No, that's what the Lakers
Especially when you have him for 4 years.
That's how desperate they were. And the last thing is, he derailed the team with the ADs that he needed to have AD and have his agent Rich Paul put this out publicly with a year and a half left on AD's contract. He wasn't going to be a free agent after this year, and they were trying to make it happen before the trade deadline. He had another year on his contract. And here's the other part, Chris. When he's come back,
hold on. Let's analyze what you just said.
Let me just ask one more thing. Here's the other part. And then watch LeBron in that Suns game. He bricked 2 free throws.
Oh, we can definitely talk about his play.
At the end of the game, which would have made the game a 1-possession game. He missed both free throws. The other day in Phoenix, he on an inbounds pass, he hit the back of the backboard for a turnover, which I've never seen in my 33 years of covering NBA basketball or college basketball or high school basketball. Have I ever seen that happen? That's focus. What is that? So all I'm saying is, along with all that other stuff, LeBron James hasn't lived up to what he was supposed to live up with as being the greatest player on the planet. He has been. He just hasn't done it.
But you didn't say along with those other things. You said it's
no. But I just named. I named 4 things.
LeBron James. You said it's all on LeBron.
I named the 4 things. He knew what he was coming to.
But you still said it's all on him. He's the reason for the bad Lakers season. None of it on the young players who went 6-11 without him.
No, 6
None of it
12.
on the front office who put together this roster and who leaked the Anthony Davis trade stuff. None of it on that. None of it on the injuries. Just on LeBron. And I give you, he shot poorly from the line. He hasn't played good defense. But you're going to put it all on him?
Injuries are part of the game. We can't make an excuse just for LeBron.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying it's a factor.
Toronto has one of the best records in the league. And you know what? Their best players missed 16 games. Kawhi Leonard's missed 16. LeBron missed 18. And where are they? So don't tell me it's just about he missed 16 games.
That's my point. Their players held up.
But
their
it derailed the
played
season.
well without Kawhi.
I'm not buying
the Lakers players didn't. That's the difference. What don't you understand
and
about
why are they losing that on LeBron's back is what I'm saying. Why are they losing?
No, I'm not. I'm not absolving him. I'm just saying there are other factors. That's all I'm saying. You're saying it's all him. I'm saying that he's to blame, no doubt. But there are other factors as well. So let's see, Rob, what the listeners think.
All right, let's do it. We'll start with Kyle in St. Louis. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, number one, I want to say what's up to Chris, yo to the Bruz. Rob.
What's happening?
Rob.
Yes.
You're a hater, man.
No, I'm not.
He's the hit boat.
So bad. Let me get a couple things out. Number one, they got 4 out of 5. What NBA team is successful with 4 out of 5 starters injured almost an average of 20 games?
All right, so Kyle, hold on. Let me give him my feedback. So now he's healthy. He's back. Why aren't they winning, Kyle? Tell me why. Why aren't they beating the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies, the New Orleans Pelicans without AD? Answer me that.
Number one, you're not going to have chemistry when you got 4 out of 5 of your starters injured for more than 20 games. That's almost 80 games that they aren't able to have a starting lineup.
I'm talking about together. Now.
That's one. I know now, so I'm going to go to this. Walton is starting with a small lineup. They're average of 33. They're giving up 33 points a game in the first quarter. 33 points a game, and 90% of that is happening inside the lane. That's terrible coaching. That's horrible. I can coach better than that to say we're giving up 33 points a game, and then it's happening in the paint in the first quarter. And you're starting a small. You got LeBron running the point, but yet he's defending the 5. That doesn't make any sense. That's terrible coaching. That's horrible coaching. Number 2, LeBron James. You're talking about him not making the playoffs, and that is his fault. Kobe Bryant averaged 28 and 6, and didn't make it to the playoffs. Facts.
So, but what does it have to do with LeBron? LeBron's the greatest player on the planet.
But
what does it have to do with it, Kyle?
Kobe not
Stop.
the greatest player on the
No,
planet?
never. He was never considered the greatest player on the planet. No, LeBron is that guy. Stop making excuses. He came here to L.A. not to win. It shows every day.
Is he not trying to win?
I'm not saying he came here for other reasons, Chris.
But none of it was winning.
I didn't think it was on his number one thing to win a championship in LA. If he won one, great. But I don't believe that.
I don't know that you can say he didn't come here to win. Now, you can say he had other things on his mind, but I think he also came here to win. Look at the impatience he's showing. I mean, just you said earlier, he's the one that led them to go after Anthony Davis.
There's no doubt.
Well, if he didn't want to win, why would he do that?
Well, because he felt like he had no chance with the guys he has. He wants to give himself a chance.
So he wants to win.
But I'm not buying.
I get what you're saying. I mean, he certainly came here to do other things, but I'm not going to say he didn't come here to win.
All right, Tony in Seattle. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Tony?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. First, I want to say, Rob, you are not a hater. You are keeping it real. Chris, you being a fanboy a little bit.
Really? What did I say that wasn't a fact? Tell me one thing I said that wasn't a fact.
The first thing, in your first 5 minutes, you say arguably the best player in the NBA. LeBron is nowhere near close to the best player in the NBA, who only can play hard in spurts, or is only willing to play hard in spurts. He plays no defense, but I'm not even going to get on his defense. He hasn't played defense. If you're really paying attention and really watching LeBron, he hasn't played good defense since his last year in Miami. He's been playing this way. I don't know why it's a revelation.
Has he not been viewed for the past 4 years by most people or most pundits with a mic in their face as the best player in the world?
And
whether it's true or not, he has been viewed as that.
But Chris, let's say why? Because he was taking his team to the finals in the East. Now he's in the West, and you can't play 50% in the West, and he's getting exposed. And his leadership is come. He's been. I know everybody wants to say he's the best leader in the NBA. LeBron hasn't been a good leader in the last 3 years, and let's keep it real. In the NBA Finals last year, he didn't display good leadership at the end of the game, and he kind of sulked.
He sulked after J.R. Smith. You know that?
You know how he led?
He sulked.
He dropped 51.
No, but
that's how he led.
They still had a chance to win. They didn't even lose the game on the J.R. Smith blunder, and LeBron called up into a ball and rolled into the corner.
Nah, look, he didn't respond correctly. I'll give you that. No doubt. But he dropped 51.
But the big difference between him and Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, this is why I say it's so blasphemy for people to say what LeBron is because in these last games right here where the Lakers, when he was supposed to have been activated, in these last games, Kobe Bryant would have shot the ball 60 times to will his team a win. And you don't.
Let me ask you this: Did Kobe shoot it 60 times in the second half of that Game 7 against Phoenix?
You're always going to go to Phoenix.
I'm just asking. All
right, Tony.
I don't bring feelings. I bring facts. Did he? Okay. Yeah, he hung up after that one, right?
No,
I'm just asking, Rob.
No, I go to that Kobe game all the time.
I'm just saying. As we're talking about the NBA, we got a great guest to delve into that topic even more deeply. It is former NBA general manager and now an NBA analyst for CBS Sports and NBA TV, Billy King. Billy, welcome to the Odd Couple. How you doing?
What's happening?
I'm glad to be here, guys. How are you guys doing?
We're great, man. We're great.
We can't agree on this LeBron Laker thing, but
well, that's where we'll start. That's the story of the NBA right now, Billy. What do you attribute this mess in Los Angeles to, where the Lakers look like they're not going to make the playoffs?
Well, I think it goes back to LeBron's injury because I think they were starting to gel, starting to figure out how to play with LeBron because he's a unique player. And I think once he got hurt, they lost their engine. He's the glue. They all came there. The veteran guys came. And I think also Rondo being hurt because I think Rondo can handle the ball and facilitate people. When those guys were out for as long as they were, it's hard to come back and now try to get that rhythm because some of those young guys, they've never won. They've never been in this position where you're fighting for a playoff spot. So I just think the injury with LeBron took them out of the rhythm, and they couldn't get it back because this time of year you don't have time to practice.
Well,
And so now all little things, whether it's missing assignments or defense or shot selection or rebound, boxing, all those little things come about.
well, Billy, I have to push back from this standpoint. I get the injuries. Injuries happen in the NBA, in all sports, and you got to bounce back. They still had a chance to make the playoffs. When you look at this team, LeBron hasn't played defense. They've lost to some of the worst teams in the league. This team, even with LeBron on the court, they just lost to the Suns, who had won one game in 6 weeks. They lost to Memphis. They lost to New Orleans without Anthony Davis. How can that be that we're looking at these losses now with LeBron putting up triple doubles but not playing defense, and the reason that they're not going to make the playoffs is because of the 18 games that he missed?
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of that is timing, and I think you can't be. Yeah, LeBron may not be playing defense, but the one thing, like you look back in Cleveland, they had guys like Tristan Thompson back there who were going to play defense, guys that understood the rotations to do that. The Laker team, a lot of the guys, they weren't built to play defense last year. It was about an offensive game, and so now, LeBron has to play defense. But I just think when you're not in practice, the defense assignments, the rotation, all those things are you don't have time to work on them because you don't have time to practice. This time of year, teams aren't practicing much. For example, look at the Sixers. They're, Brett Brown, the other game last night, they're up 3, they take a foul, they have bad turnovers because they haven't had a chance to practice as they've added all these new pieces. It's very easy to throw in pieces and say it's going to work in basketball when you make these trades, but if you don't have time to get on the court and practice, and this time you don't, it's very hard to make it work. We traded for Dikembe Mutombo in 2001 when we had the best record in the East at the time. And after that trade, counting playoffs, we were a 500 team and even got to the NBA Finals. And before that, we were I think at 41-14.
Well, Billy, Luke Walton, there reports that he's going to be fired at the end of the season.
Be the fall guy.
I think they're true. Yeah, I think he'll be the scapegoat. What is the view of him around the league? Do you think he'll get another NBA head coaching job in the future, or people look at him as maybe just an assistant or maybe somebody that goes to college to coach?
No, I think he'll get a job. If he gets fired in this season, he'll probably get a job next season because I think they'll look at what he did with Golden State. And Mike D'Antoni said something that's very, very unique and not unique, very prophetic about coaching NBA. When he was at Denver, his first NBA head coaching job, they didn't win, and people said he couldn't coach. When he got to Phoenix and he had Nash and Stoudemire, people said, "Oh, the guy's the greatest coach." And he said, "Billy, I'm the same coach. I just got better players." So sometimes coaches become better coaches when they have better players, and when they don't, they've got to try to figure out and make it work. I think Luke is in a tough situation. You're bringing in a guy like LeBron, who, I think Luke wants to play a certain way like they did at Golden State. And LeBron has played a certain way that has been very successful playing his way in Miami and Cleveland winning championships. So I just don't think the two styles mesh together. And so I think Luke will be able to go somewhere else and do okay.
Billy, some anonymous GM, I think, around the league said that they thought that the chemistry was destroyed on this team because of, basically the trade rumors and all their names were leaked out, that basically LeBron was willing to give up anybody on the roster in order to get Anthony Davis. Can that affect the team when people see their names out or they're not wanted by a star player? How do you think that that affected the Lakers after all that got out?
Well, I mean, I think it probably affected him once it was out there, but it was out there for so long. And one thing I think Magic said when he talked to the guys, if they're going to play in this NBA, their names are going to be out there, not unless you're a great player. Your name's going to be out there. That's just the nature of the beast. It's your head, and it's the profession that you've chosen. So you still got a job to do, whether you're going to be traded or not. You still got a job to do because, end of the day, people are judging you on how you play individually. So if you're going to go out there and lay down and not play well, it's not just going to affect the Lakers. It's going to affect you as an individual player. So, but it's ironic that the two teams that people were talking about was the Celtics with Anthony Davis, even though they couldn't do it till after the season, and the Lakers. Both those teams are in a funk, and you look at the Celtics, and they've got unbelievable talent. They've been together, and they're not playing well. But I think it affected those guys for a period, but it shouldn't have been a hangover effect, especially after the trade deadline, because now you know you're there.
It's the Odd Couple. We're joined by former NBA general manager Billy King. Billy, I'm glad you brought up the Celtics. As like you said, they are in a funk. Is it fair? You worked in the NBA a long time, worked with a lot of coaches. Is it fair to wonder if Brad Stevens is just one of those coaches he maximizes like mediocre or pretty good talent, but he has trouble handling the superstars and the egos and things like that? Is it fair to wonder that with Boston?
Well, I don't think some of the responsibility has to go to Brad because he's the head coach. But I made the statement, I think, a couple weeks ago about Boston. I think a lot of the players are so worried about next year, not this year. Is Kyrie's, and the people are asking the question, is he going to stay in Boston or is he going to New York? Are they trading guys for Anthony Davis? And so they've been so focused on the future and not the present. And I think that, as a unit, they need to worry about playing now. I do think when they get in the playoffs, they have enough talent, and cream tends to rise to the top. I think they can do it when they get there because they are so talented, and playoffs is a different season. But I just was worried that they've been so focused on whether Rozier, new contract, it's all about the future, not the present.
They would face Philadelphia in that first round. They're the 4 and 5 seeds. They've owned Philadelphia, beat them last year 4-1 in the playoffs, have won like 17 of their last 20 matchups. Would you pick Boston right now over Philadelphia in that series?
Well, I probably would just because of what I've seen, how they've played. I just haven't seen Philadelphia prove that they can beat them. And until they do it, you've got to go with Boston because they have played so much better than them in playoffs. The thing with Philadelphia now, you worry Joel Embiid's missing a 6th game tonight. Now he's going to come back, and now they've got to get him back in rhythm. And they're adding Tobias Harris. So it's going to be a lot of chemistry issues, I think, with this group, adding Joel back, trying to figure out Tobias Harris. And I think for Brett Brown, is figuring out who do you go to into the game when you need a big bucket. If you're up 5 with 2 minutes, what are you doing? And when you don't have these regular season games to figure it out, I think it's going to be kind of difficult. It was like they were last year. Remember they had that great run, was it 18, 19 straight?
Yep.
And Joel was out, and then he came back, and the style play changed because before, without Joel, they were running and pushing and shooting threes, playing at a high pace. You bring Joel back, you got to slow it down a little bit, and I think that was a different pace than they had played with before.
Billy, great stuff,
Yeah,
man. We appreciate the
Thank
knowledge.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime, guys.
All right, thanks, Billy. Rob, let's let the listeners weigh in.
All right, how about Vicky in Lancaster, Pennsylvania? You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What you got, Vicky?
Okay, what I got, thanks for taking my call, first-time caller.
Oh, yes, thanks.
What I have is Magic Johnson and Rob didn't have a plan in free agency. When they didn't sign Randall, they replaced him with Beasley in the power forward position. And Beasley is not a replacement for Randall. So I feel that they didn't have a backup plan when they didn't sign Julius, and they always seem to lack depth at the 5 position. It's like the last thing the Lakers think about is the center, and Randall was giving them double-doubles. Mm-hmm. So to me, I look at Magic and Rob and I say, you didn't give us 2 guards, you didn't give us a backup power forward, you kind of threw McGee in there, and he was great when he was healthy, but then it just kind of all fell apart when LeBron didn't have another banger under there with him, and I think Julius would have been a wonderful compliment.
Well, it's interesting,
Thank you,
Vicky,
Vicky,
because they had the 3 centers, JaVale McGee, Tyson Chandler, and Ivica Zubac. And Zubac was playing the best out of all of them.
He was playing well,
right?
and they traded him.
I know. And then Muscala's barely even getting any minutes. So it does seem like there's a randomness to some of the things they're doing. So, their plan has been a little bit shaky. I'll give her that.
Yeah, Muscala has been more like a Moscato, but that's another story.
Okay. Kawhi liked that one.
He did. Thank you.
All right.
Arthur in Houston, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Arthur?
Hey, how y'all doing, man? Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Rob, you right on point. Chris, stop using the injury thing as an excuse. I'll give you a prime example in the NBA right now. The Houston Rockets. missed 3 out of the 5 of their starters, about 20, 25 games, and they're 5th in the conference.
Oh, that's funny.
You
They're
gotta stop
ahead
this-
of the Lakers, right? That's interesting.
Right. I'm sorry?
I like the
No,
way you
I agree.
embellished that a little
I
bit.
agree. No, but he's right. James
Gordon
Harden had
didn't
to do it
miss-
by
Gordon
himself.
Didn't miss 20 something games.
But Harden had to do it by himself.
No,
Arthur-
but no, you're right. That's why he
Arthur,
may
it's a
win the
great
MVP.
point. It's a great
That's why
point,
he might win the
Arthur.
MVP. And I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm saying it's a factor. And that is the factor that killed their season. Look,
Why didn't it kill Houston's season, Chris?
Because
I'm asking
Harden
you.
was still healthy. Chris Paul got hurt. Clint Capella got hurt, but Harden was still healthy. If Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram got hurt, but LeBron was still healthy for those 17 games, I think they would have been able to withstand it. That's all I'm saying.
So why are they losing now, though?
Because now you throw on the Anthony Davis saga, which sapped these guys of their trust. Let me throw it out this way, Rob. Offensively, Kuzma and Ingram are still playing well because offensively, everybody likes to score. If you can score, you're going to keep scoring no matter how much you're in your
That's
feelings.
true. They are playing well.
Right? But defensively, and I'm putting some of this on LeBron. Don't get me, his defense has been horrible, but defense is where you recognize the team's trust, their chemistry, their camaraderie, and all that. When that's not there, you're not going to play good defense. And it's not there for the Lakers. They were covering up for LeBron's defensive lapses earlier in the year. Once they lost the trust because of the Anthony Davis saga, now they're not covering up for him. They're just letting him get exposed.
No doubt about it. Hey, Mitch, we got 30 seconds. Mitch in Chicago, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. 30 seconds.
Okay. As always, I've always said, it's a Magic Johnson problem. Stay tuned, folks. Okay. So, but I'm fascinated by the fact that thank God for Billy King, and for Chris being objective. Because
I'm
Rob,
objective
I love
too.
you, but you're drinking too much hater wine, man.
Ah, not at all. Thanks, Mitch, for the call.
He lives on that. Lives on it. I'm with him every day.
Just because he disagrees with me, I'm on haterade.
It's the Odd Couple. Keep it locked.